If you're a B2B company heading into Q1, forget the trend noise. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 things that worked for us and our clients in 2025 and one that didn't. And the one that didn't will shock you. What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan, owner of Milan Media, where we help B2B and B2C companies drive revenue through strategic marketing tactics. In this video, I'm going to go through the 3 things that worked and one that didn't, and it's going to shock you. So let's jump into it. So these are things that worked for us and for our clients in the B2B, heavier in B2B space than B2C. Number 1, sub 100 worded cold emails. Now, those of you out there that are doing cold emails as an outbound approach, there's so much information out there. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? How should I word my emails, etc. What worked the best for us are sub 100 words, keeping it simple, straight to the point. That's what worked. It got the most response rate, not opens and clicks because we're not really tracking them, but the most response rate was from sub 100 words. It goes against everything that is said when it comes to personalization and email marketing, but the numbers were drastically better. We saw a 60 to 70% increase in response rate when those initial cold emails were sub 100 words. So be direct, be to the point. People are busy. They don't have time to go through and read your entire dissertation via email. Keep it short and to the point, and you will get those responses. Number 2 that worked was attribution through paid media. And what I mean by that is enhanced attribution through HubSpot. Earlier this year, HubSpot released this enhanced attribution model, and let's dive into what it means. Maybe some of your other CRM systems have it. I'm just going to talk specifically about HubSpot, but the way that paid media works is you create a search campaign. Let's say you're going after like, who is the best mechanic in your city? And you want to show up for that paid search. So you create all the headlines, the keywords, the match type, the negative keywords, all that stuff. And so as people engage, usually most people are trying to go after conversions when it comes to paid search. So you can say, I want clicks, I want impressions, or I want to optimize, I want Google to optimize my ad campaign based on conversions so people actually convert. And so what Google looks at is they show your ad to somebody, they click it, they go to your site, and then they fill out the form and it sends the information back to Google to say, hey, that was a conversion, thumbs up. Google's going to take that information and then try and get you more people that will do it. So as they are testing, showing your ad, the way that they tweak their algorithm, who they show it to, how they show it, how often, etc., is going to be adjusted based on that conversion number. So if you're not getting conversions, they're going to make adjustments to optimize for it. Here's the sticking point, is that I could have somebody fill out a form on my website and come into my funnel, and then I talk to them, they're not a fit. They're not a fit because they didn't read the copy on the site saying that we don't service them. They're not a fit because of their location, or maybe they're just spammy type information. With enhanced attribution, HubSpot, once the lead comes into your funnel and you start working that, you move it from a lead to an opportunity, and an opportunity, it becomes close won, you win business, you have a dollar amount attached to that deal. HubSpot sends that information back to Google to say, hey, remember this conversion you did 3 months ago, 30 days ago, etc.? It was actually turned into a deal and I won it. So it sends the information back to Google, and then Google reprograms itself slightly. I'm using basic layman's terms. It reprograms itself to optimize for those types of people. So you're giving it another piece of information. It's not just about conversions, but it's about conversions into deals, because all people really care about is how many deals did you get over the month versus conversions that you got. So if you got 50 conversions, but only 10 of them resulted in deals versus 50 conversions and 30 of them resulting into deals, that's going to change the way that you look at your data information, going back to those campaigns on which one performed the best. Well, I want the ones that convert money, not just a form fill into a lead and a conversation. I want to go after the people that are going to buy and convert, and that's what this enhanced attribution model does. Number 3 is AEO, or answer engine optimization. I've heard this said so many times, AI, SEO, AIEO. It's just AEO, answer engine optimization. So what you're doing is focusing on answering the engines and optimizing your content for the answer engine. So all of the LLMs, it could be Google AI overview with Gemini, it could be Claude, it could be ChatGPT, it could be Perplexity, it could be all these different systems, but you're trying to optimize your content around it. That massively worked for us in the second half of this year. That's really when it started to push. When Google in spring of 2025 said, hey, AI overview is now public for everybody to use. As you search, it's going to come in, it's going to give you results. It's only improved and continue to get bigger and bigger over the latter half of 2025. And so by testing things, looking at all of the experts out there and say what matters and what doesn't, by testing things and putting TLDR and FAQs and schema markup and all these things that are suggested, we actually were able to get client specific content day one not showing up. It's been ranked on Google, but it's not showing up in the AI overview. And then after making these adjustments, a couple of days later, it starts to show up. So that's where it comes into, if you're Google searching, like if you're in the B2B space, industrial, who are the top CNC machine shops in Austin or CNC machining companies in Austin, you're going to see that AI overview. And we've seen clients skip from not being shown all the way up to being in the top, being cited. And then that's what's going to create the entire zero click era, etc. I'm going to talk more in depth about that in a different video. AEO and focusing on answer engine optimization definitely worked in the second half of this year. We're doubling down on it, trying to go a little bit expanded outside of the box and get all of our clients those same types of results. So the one thing, I know you've been waiting for it, the one thing that did not work well in 2025 was what everybody said about personalization, links in text, long form email copy. When it comes to outbound, it just did not work. For so long, I've heard people say, with your subject line, put in the first name, like comma first name, call out the company, make it personal. Hey, Susie, I know that you work at this company, insert company name, and I've got a personalization token pulled from their LinkedIn. It just didn't work in the world that we're in B2B. It did not produce results, and most likely it got blocked by spam. Throughout the year of 2025, and especially in the second half, all of the ESPs or email service providers have been cracking down and trying to remove all of the people that have been sending out cold, spammy email marketing stuff, therefore tightening the system. It's even harder to get into. And what we saw is that by having heavy content, even if it is optimized for that person or personalized to them, it just didn't produce any better results. And if anything, the longer form text and having a link in the emails is making it more susceptible to spam. So we've got AI inbox placement tests that we do for all of our clients, all of our accounts. It's tracking every single day, sending out emails to accounts that the system owns, and then tracking, did that land in spam? Did it land in the inbox? Is it Microsoft, Google, etc.? And through all the tests, anything that had links or lengthy content and heavy personalization was just being triggered that this seems kind of spammy, and then the system was pulling it into the spam folders. And so that's where everybody says, like, you got to have personalization and do all these things, but it just did not work. So I would say going into 2026, double down on what worked for us in the second half of the year, which was shorter form content. Do not include links. Don't even track open rate. Don't even track click rate, because it doesn't matter. So when you look at the data, I can look at it and say, this campaign I sent, let's say for argument's sake, an email to 1,000 people, and my open rate's 58% and my click rate's 2%. And I've got people that's showing that they clicked and went to the actual website that I wanted to go to. Here's the issue. When you dig through the data, and this is what I spent hours doing on one specific account, and then once I realized the issue was as bad as it was, I went to all accounts. Once you dig into it, you can look at the timestamps. Like, I send you an email. If you open it right away, I know you're a bot. If you open it 20 minutes later, 2 hours later, 2 days later, there's a high likelihood that you're not a bot. And what's happening is that it's hard to filter out what these bots doing on the open rate. So you put the HTML tracking code or the cookie onto the email to be able to send information back saying this person opened it, this person clicked. By doing that, you're increasing your fingerprint to Google or Microsoft saying that this is a spammy type of email, or this is cold email marketing. So naturally they're going to be like, oh, I don't know about this. He's got a link. He's got this HTML code. Maybe it could be spam, etc. So already by doing that, you're leaving yourself open to be flagged for spam, then it's not going to deliver. So I can look at it and say, oh, I got 58% open rate, but even filtering out the bots through the programs of what you're sending it through doesn't get it perfect every single time, to where that 58 could be really like 18% or 8% open rate once you remove all the bots manually. And then from there, it's like, where did that even get delivered into? Because I've got the HTML tracking code on it. I've got the link in the text. So it's like, oh, shoot, here's a link. I have to scan the link. Even that, it'll show a click, but it wasn't really a click. It was a system testing the link and visiting it to make sure it's safe. So we thought that that's what everybody was saying last year, is you got to go after personalization. We were doing that in the first half of the year. It did not work. The results were better going shorter, removing the link, removing the open rate tracking, removing the click rate tracking, because all that really matters is if I told you that you hired us to do email marketing, I said, hey man, we got a 58% open rate. You'd be like, okay, that sounds good. And we got a 2% click rate. That's awesome. But if it doesn't, after 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of that, if it doesn't result in actual leads or form fills or business or deals in your pocket, then it's not going to matter. So why leave yourself open to use that vanity metric of saying like, hey, it's working, we're getting opens. Why leave yourself open to hitting spam if you can just remove that and focus on the response side? So let's recap real quick. One thing that worked was sub 100 word emails for cold outbound. Number 2, enhance attribution through using something like HubSpot to tie into the paid media. Number 3, focusing on answer engine optimization or AEO. And the main thing that didn't work was all of the personalization, link tracking, all that stuff that comes to outbound email marketing. That stuff gets a big red X. We go basic, generic, high level, top of funnel, short email copy, and you will see some successes going into 2026. If you guys got value out of this content, share it with somebody that you know. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and I will see you on the next one.